and today we're going to be reacting to most critical, absolute awful situation. Let's get straight into it.
So we had the solar eclipse, which to sane people is just a fun spectacle to ooh and
Alright,
awe at. It's a very,
I didn't look at it, but
very rare event. It's like a special occasion in an MMO. And people just got together, checked it out, and went on
I
with
knew
their
what it
lives.
was. I just didn't look at
Nothing crazy happened, but leading up to it, there was a lot of hoopla, a lot of hooting and hollering about all kinds of doomsday prophecies, all kinds of crazy
it. Doomsday.
conspiracies. But when it actually came down to the brass tacks here and the eclipse unfolded, nothing happened. I think the worst that would happen to someone is
Yep, leave it to the conspiracy theorists.
they decide to look at the eclipse raw dog. No eyewear on, so they look up and they blind themselves. Now all of a sudden their vision's all foggy, and anytime they try to look at titties, it's blurry. But that's about the extent of the
That's a horrible
danger
thing to
of
have.
the
Happen
eclipse.
to you.
However, those crazy conspiracies I mentioned, well, they actually led to an astrology influencer killing her partner, her 8 month
Oh my god. Of course, astrology.
old, and herself. A very popular astrology influencer, whom had a massive Twitter audience, started melting down, blowing a gasket over this eclipse
Of course,
about
a
how
crazy person has a full huge following on Twitter, no surprise.
apocalypse and how people need to wake up. And now she will never be able to wake up because on the day of the eclipse, she went on a killing spree, which included herself. She believed that the eclipse was the epitome of spiritual warfare.
What?
Does that sound familiar to any of you? Well, actually, it's only going to sound familiar to the people that are fucking online 24/7, which
I
is
don't.
goobers like me. That spiritual warfare line is something that was spit up and regurgitated by thousands of Twitter drones that are trying to
I don't know what he's talking about right here.
monger on every possible aspect, even the most trivial nothing burgers. Do you guys remember like 6 months ago when they tested the emergency broadcast text? And people on Twitter were losing their goddamn minds about it. Like, make sure your phones are locked in 5 layers of aluminum foil and put it in your microwave, and then lock yourself in a dark room and turn the bathtub on.
How do you think that will help at all? That sounds so stupid.
Because if that text message reaches you, it's going to activate the 5G in your brain, and the microchips are going to
What?
fucking flip on, and you're going to be a sheep under their control. This is how you got to break out. Every single time there's anything going on in the
Sounds like a pirate scheme, I'm not gonna lie. Sounds like a pirate scheme, bro.
world, this line about spiritual warfare or why this is the apocalypse or the start of the doomsday is always being preached about by mentally unwell individuals online. But because everyone is online, people have so much access to it. So people like Danielle Johnson, who's the astrology influencer that went on this killing spree,
I don't know. Don't think I ever will watch stuff like that.
sees all of it, buys into it, and is living their life fearful and delusioned. And then when something like the eclipse happens, after being told so many times how bad it is and how this is the apocalypse, she goes and does something crazy, something evil. Because there are so many mentally unwell people online that are
Yeah, that's obviously that she's mentally unwell. That's not even to believe something like this. You have to be there. Makes no other sense if you're not.
constantly feeding other mentally unwell people, and it ends with a fucking tragedy like this. You hear about the influencer who killed her family because of the eclipse? Happened in LA. Mom accused of murder suicide leaving kids on
I wouldn't even believe a comment like that. That's crazy.
405 freeway was an astrology influencer fearful of the eclipse. Mentally unwell people have become. Well, I guess I can't say have become. How, I guess because it's more so we just have access to seeing them. Since everyone
Right.
is seen online now, everyone has a digital footprint, we just see all of them now. But to be this afraid of a fucking eclipse,
I don't know
The
if
death of-
that's some ways it's horrible, some ways it's not. I guess.
an infant and the injury of a young girl, both
Yeah,
found on the 405
definitely.
freeway earlier this week, was tied to a murder-suicide investigation involving the children's mother, Danielle Johnson.
Children, hold on. That's
It
crazy.
spanned 3 neighborhoods and resulted in the death of 3 people, including her partner, her 8-month-old, and herself. In the days leading up to the murders, Johnson took to social media where she posted a slew of
Yeah, what can okay. The spouse is one thing. Not saying that that's okay either. Like that's crazy too. But the kid? That's another thing, bro. That's a different type of crazy.
Misinformation, anti-Semitic, and conspiratorial rhetoric under the handle Ayoka. Johnson retweeted posts about theories regarding the origins of COVID-19, video about Jews promoting pedophilia in the entertainment industry, and apocalyptic speech concerning the recent solar eclipse to her over 100,000 social media followers. How are more people not talking about this then? If she had 100K followers on Twitter, and she was one of these like conspiracy lunatics that ended up killing herself, her partner, and her child, how are more people not aware of this? Wake up, the apocalypse.
Yeah, I don't know what you're waking up from.
Apocalypse is here. Everyone who has ears, listen. Your time to choose what you believe is now. If you believe a new world is possible for the people, retweet now. There's power in choice. There is power in choice. Repost to make the choice for the collective. On Monday morning, the day of the recent total solar eclipse, Johnson's...
I just think I don't know how people read that and just like, yeah, because I think she's just spouting a whole bunch of nonsense.
2 children were found on the northbound side of the 405 freeway. According to officers, the 9-year-old held their infant sister in her lap, sitting in the passenger seat of Johnson's car while they drove down the freeway. Johnson allegedly slowed down in the middle of the road and pushed 2 girls out of the car. As the 9-year-old fell into the middle of the freeway, she injured herself and dropped the infant. And then, in a race to get out of the freeway and not get hit by the traffic, the 9-year-old managed to get to the shoulder successfully, but the infant was struck by traffic and succumbed to her injuries in the middle of the freeway. Holy fuck, this is absolutely horrific.
Right, and it's so detailed, too. That just makes you like, because like the whole time you were saying, I'm like envisioning what's happening, bro. That was so detailed.
The infant's death was connected to a murder in Woodland Hills and a fatal car crash in Redondo Beach. A woman in her mid-30s fatally stabbed and killed her partner around 3:30 a.m. The stabbing victim was 29-year-old Jalen Allen Cheney, Johnson's partner and father of one of the girls. After stabbing Cheney and leaving the 2 girls in the middle of 405, police said Johnson drove down to Redondo Beach. Her car crashed.
My question is, what was she thinking at the... Like, it's something we'll probably never know, but, like, what was she thinking as she was doing it? I'm just... Or after she did it. I'm just wondering that.
Tree around 5 a.m. near a church. Authorities say Johnson died at the scene and her death is being treated as suicide. She was driving at speeds in excess of 100 miles per hour. She did all of that, and ironically, she's now going to hell. Yep.
Right.
And I bet she heard all of this from a bunch of those absolute fucking degenerate Twitter users saying the most outlandish shit ever, and she just bought into it hook, line, and sinker. Ends up killing herself, her partner, her 8-month-old.
Huge W today. They're like, yeah, I told you. You gotta believe in me now.
All over a total solar eclipse that lasted fucking minutes. But the moon is in retrophase, Charlie. Astrology has a major impact. Right you are, I suppose. How have I not heard about this? This feels like it'd be everywhere. She had 100,000 people in her audience. That's not a small number.
Right.
I mean, her engagement isn't like super low. Like, I don't think this is all bots or anything. Like, her posts get like 600K, a mil. And just reading through these, clearly mentally unwell. That's the wildest part about Twitter. You can just literally take a...
Of course. You can't go into a chat like that or any controversy and not expect it to be complete idiots in it.
Peek into actual, like, psychosis. It's scary.
People who are just unwell.
And then they're constantly, like, enabling others. And then it escalates to something like this. It's extraordinarily sad because I don't believe everyone that preaches these things is someone that believes them. I believe they're doing it because it fosters a community that will buy...
I feel like she believed it. I'm just saying. Like, if she's willing to go that far for what she, like... I'm convinced she believed it, okay? Because there's no way she did all that and she does it. Because I don't think there's no other explanation on why she did it besides that.
Into it. And then they have this loyal following, this loyal audience that they can sell things to and make money off of. So I think a lot of the people that are always saying things about how the eclipse is about to end the world because it's waging spiritual war on us, so it's time to pick a side, the righteous or the devil, that kind of thing. I think a lot of the people that start propagating that are some of those people that have recognized they can make a lot of money from doing so. And they are directly responsible for situations like this because they feed into it. They make people believe it, and they make people afraid, and they make...
I thought at first he was hinting that she didn't believe it. I'm like, no, she definitely believed it, bro. There's no
people
way.
do crazy things, people that are already not mentally sound. It's sickening. They just try and take every controversial approach to everything they can about how anything is a huge problem that you need to be afraid of. You need to wake up to. You see that verbiage all the time on Twitter and on
You
TikTok.
really see it all the time though, because sadly it works. See the girl that he's talking about in favor also had a lot of followers, and the people who she was probably listening to probably had a lot of followers too. So it's probably working.
CERN's opening a
Sadly.
portal, letting demons through on the day of the solar eclipse. Take cover. Buy my book that's going to enlighten you on how to avoid all of the demons in your life, because now
Right.
CERN's working behind the scenes, pulling the strings, the puppet masters that are releasing all this demons into our world. And for a lot of the people that watch these things or read about these and start believing them, once you believe in one of these theories, you start believing in all of them, because then you start convincing yourself of every single one of them, no matter how nonsensical or illogical, no matter how little evidence or proof there is. Once you buy into it, even slightly, you convince yourself that it's all true. So you don't just believe in one conspiracy anymore. You start believing in all of them.
That makes sense. I mean, yeah, just reel you in with. Only takes one to just reel you in a little bit, then let you open your eyes to the rest. The rest is stupid, but I guess.
Look at Danielle Johnson, for example. All of her tweets are every possible conspiracy you can find. Every conspiracy you can think of, she believed in. And I'm sure it started with just one that she saw from someone on Twitter that is once again just fanning those flames, trying to make people afraid and trying to get them to buy into whatever they're trying to sell you. Now, that's not every case here. There is a lot of instances where extremely mentally unwell people gather a huge audience and they themselves truly believe the awful things they're spitting out.
Right.
But I think a lot of it is from people that have recognized that you can make a lot of money from capitalizing off of that community. Because when people are afraid, they'll do anything to get rid of that fear, including buying shit they don't need or
I don't even understand. I don't watch stuff like that for a reason. It's just I don't know. It's just I don't want to at all.
whatever.
It seems so
And then in some
stupid.
cases like this, all that fear that you keep serving up leads to a horrible situation where someone that was the recipient of all of these awful ideas that have legitimately no basis and no logic to them does something unforgivable. What Danielle Johnson did is heinous, inexcusable, and disgusting. And I really do believe that all of those TikTok and Twitter conspiracy accounts that keep just fucking firing from the hip with the
I hope I never get those types of accounts on my For You page.
most ridiculous theories ever did play a real role in her getting to this point. It's no coincidence that all of the things that she was speaking about on her Twitter are the same things you see on other accounts all saying similar things. It's a network that's feeding these dangerous ideas that lead to a breaking point in some people. It is fucking atrocious. And I am confident that none of those accounts will ever acknowledge the role they play in a case like Danielle Johnson.
Obviously, they don't care. I mean, it's obvious.
They're gonna throw her some kind of like fringe case, like, oh, I can't believe someone would do something like that. We're just trying to give you guys the truth, give you guys the tools to, snap out of it and wake up from the mind control. What Danielle Johnson did, oh, we have no idea how it got to that point. Even though, if you read these posts or watch these videos from these accounts, they're like legitimately pushing people to be like Danielle Johnson, push them down that path of just extreme mental illness. It's fucking horrifying. But anyway, yeah, I wanted to talk about this a little bit because it made me really upset. Obviously, I think
Alright, y'all. This was a good one. Don't forget to like, comment, subscribe, and I will see y'all in the next one. Peace out.